Hello and welcome to the Rested podcast. My name's Mark Selby. I love the theatre of travel, discovering the stories of journeys and learning how people use their travel time. Natalia in St. Petersburg tells me she enjoys the gentle, percussive rhythm or pulse of train travel. The experience of motion feels analogue. It feels almost human. Michael in the Czech Republic reminds me of the pleasure of receiving handwritten letters. I wonder when you last wrote or received one. Postcards from our journeys are so expensive and much slower than texting, but very few of those text messages ever end up attached to fridge doors, their image and words repeatedly viewed, read and enjoyed. Thankfully, there are many that value the analogue moments of life, reading a physical book, listening to wildlife, or savouring the smell of newly baked bread. Enjoying that continuity of analogue life when human traits risk quietly disappearing in a growing digital storm. Long may our analogue travels roll on. Yours certainly are. I welcome the new Rested listeners, young and older, in Canada, India, Spain and Vietnam. Your feedback is both appreciated and interesting. There was universal surprise at Chris buying that house on Skopelos by signing a blank sheet of paper. The phrase ample sufficiency was used by more listeners' relatives than I expected. And several of you shared your painful film and slideshow stories. David in Singapore wrote, "You made me laugh out loud thinking about those shows. Once the projector caught fire, but at least the show ended early." Some memorable analogue experiences. In 2001, the American writer Mark Prensky introduced the terms digital native and digital immigrant. Digital immigrants are those who grew up in a non-digital, pre-internet culture before they experienced the digital one, whereas digital natives know only the digital culture and were born since the 1980s. It seems slightly odd because we normally view natives or indigenous people as having existed long before immigrants arrived and, in the case of colonization, oppressed them. With digital immigrants and natives, it's the opposite way round. The immigrants are the forefathers of the natives. Today there are projects all over the world identifying, recording and teaching the once common skills of indigenous populations that are at risk of disappearing. The skills include wayfinding, survival, hunting, land management and community well-being. Like the navigational skills of the Polynesian sailors who sailed thousands of miles across the vast Pacific Ocean in small boats to discover new islands, then sailed home to tell others. Then there are the kinship and oral traditions of Australian Aboriginals and the land management skills of many indigenous populations. Skills recognised as being of value to later generations and society today. They're being taught to younger people and passed on before they're lost. There have been barriers to the successful transfer of digital skills to digital immigrants and of pre-digital skills to digital natives. Classic attitudes towards younger or older generations have probably caused more frustration and misunderstandings than peer-to-peer skill transfers. To suggest that those born before the 1980s know what's best is sadly incorrect, and vice versa. And labelling all digital immigrants as just living in the past is a sweeping generalisation. The pre-digital age was not wholly glorious, trying to feed coins into the blocked slots of phone boxes, banks shutting over weekends, and the quality of medical research were not better than now. Yes, physical money helped retain basic numeracy skills, but it was so inconvenient. Just because the banks had restricted opening times didn't mean financial systems stopped working at weekends, and the analysis of medical research data was slow, delaying the understanding of medical conditions and the development of cures. To claim everything is better in an online world is also dubious. Online retail has led to the decline of physical retail, leaving barren high streets of charity shops and discount stores, and lower footfall has contributed to the disappearance of once popular hubs for social interaction. In Britain, over a quarter of pubs have closed in the last 26 years. Places of worship, libraries, and social clubs have also declined steeply. Less populated areas, without their hubs, post offices, jobs, and bus services, increasingly resemble wastelands. But surely improved online connectivity, mobile apps, and social networks are replacing the need for those physical hubs. Sadly, they're not. The abundance of communication options is not prompting greater human connectivity. To paraphrase the rhyme of the ancient mariner, water, water everywhere, but not any drop to drink. Younger digital natives seem to lack the confidence and motivation to talk to another human in person or make a voice call to a stranger. The discomfort has spread to older digital immigrants who now won't make a voice call to someone they know for fear of interrupting whatever else they're doing. The irony is that the rejected recipient is probably looking at their own phone at that moment to see if anyone is getting in touch by text or voice call. The disconnected people are left feeling isolated and lonely. Today's digital world is not the utopia some had expected. Cognitive surrender to generative AI chatbots, the impacts of engineered addiction, techno-feudalism, loneliness, and declining community cohesion are just some of the challenges upon us. Identifying and sharing specific analog skills becomes more needed as digital dependency grows. I wonder which of those skills you'd prioritise to help natives and society today. Mine would include wayfinding and conversation. If you do get lost, at least you know how to ask someone for directions. I'm sure you value some others. Skills are needed to navigate this changing world. You might recall the mystery of the missing E and F railway carriages in an earlier episode. Malcolm from Hungerford investigated further, and I'm pleased to advise the remains of mummified smokers are not being stored in filthy carriages parked in rural sidings. The carriages apparently disappear to accommodate the algorithms of a railway booking system. This begs the question, do computers work for us, or do we work for them? I think I know the answer when scanning my shopping at a self-service till surrounded by other similar tills and watched by a very bored member of staff standing in the corner. I would say assistant, but that's clearly going too far. Apart from considering which pre-digital skills and practices we'd prioritise, it's worth noting a 2009 study by Sussex University which found reading for as little as 6 minutes reduced stress by as much as 68%. Researchers found it was more effective than listening to music, drinking a cup of tea or coffee, or even going for a walk. A recent report by Ofcom found 2/3 of 13 to 17-year-olds have taken active steps to manage their own time online over the past year, including setting aside time to be offline, not taking devices to bed with them, and taking a break from social media. Offline clubs are starting in some of those remaining pubs and clubs, where strangers meet up and lock away their phone in a secure box for an hour. They're apparently becoming quite popular, especially amongst university students. Sitting on a bus or train, we've got a perfect place to read, unwind, and possibly have a great chat with a stranger. I read a poem by James Berry, the Jamaican poet who later settled in England. It's relevant to natives, immigrants, and conversations. The poem's called On an Afternoon Train from Purley to Victoria, 1955. In it, Berry confronts ignorant, unintended racism with amused compassion. This is the final verse. "Where are you from?" she said. "Jamaica," I said. "What part of Africa is Jamaica?" she said. "Where Ireland is near Lapland," I said. "Hard to see why you leave such sunny country," she said. "Snow falls elsewhere," I said. So sincere, she was beautiful, as people sat down around us. I like the way Berry focuses on the woman's sincerity rather than her ignorance. We've all got something good to offer. I can feel the gentle, percussive rhythm or pulse of the train in the background as they travel. Enjoy your journey. Thanks for listening to the Rested Podcast. Please subscribe for details of new episodes and tell your friends. I look forward to reading and sharing your travel stories. Please email restedpodcast@gmail.com. And my thanks to everyone that has contributed to Rested so far. Enjoy your travel time.